lightweight running shoes. That's what we're talking about today. Hey friend, thanks for riding with me once again. The name's EDDBUD, your favourite shoe wrangler. I head out there, snare those wild shoes with my lasso. I'll bring them back and then I test them out. That's what we do here. So recently, lots of viewers and local runners have inquired to me about what my favourite lightweight running shoes are. The summer's here and everybody's looking to run free, removing those max cushioned, overly heavy running shoes. Lose that unnecessary underfoot foam. So I got the old scales out and I've come up with a list of my top 4 lightweight running shoes. So what are my top 4 lightweight running shoes for your tortured tootsies? First up is the New Balance Fuelcell Rebel. This super light booty style construction shoe certainly has some nods to the Zoom Fly Flyknit. Slightly lower offset here though, I think it's about 6mm. And you've got those special fibres in the upper to provide a little bit of structure. Certainly is an interesting looking shoe, that's for sure. Slightly more elastic section around the top. I'm sure that the Fuelcell midsole material in here though is different to that and some of the other Fuelcell shoes. Does seem a little firmer. New Balance themselves do suggest this is a shoe for those who midfoot or forefoot strike. It's certainly more geared up for those faster paced tempo efforts, or maybe even a little racing. I suppose you could race against yourself or something. Maybe if your partner is making some dinner, you could always set yourself a specific time limit to get back. Really live on the edge, you know, that sort of stuff. Certainly not an option I would suggest for recovery efforts. This one really feels quite awkward if you're anywhere near the heel. Possibly one to leave aside for interval work when you really want to enjoy those recovery parts in between. My UK size 11 in the Fuelcell Rebel weighs in at 235 grams, that's about 8.29 ounces. Certainly a very low weight option, and it comes in at a low price tag right now. I've seen these for as little as about £69, which I think's a real steal. So that's the first pick of the lightweight shoes. The Nike Pegasus Turbo 2 makes it on my list with a weight of 259 grams in my UK size 11. It's about 9.1 ounces. Only a slither of React here in the midsole. The rest is Zoom X, that super squishy, squashy stuff. I think the introduction of Zoom X here and half of the midsole does really help to make this a very lightweight feeling shoe underfoot. Really does feel great, the cushioning in this one. And as we well know, Zoom X is very, very light. It's the stuff that's used in the Vaporfly series. The mesh upper here is a lofted mesh, which I think is quite similar to the one that appears on the Infinity Run. And again, that helps to reduce the weight even more. I think there was about a 10 or 15 gram difference between this version and the Pegasus 35 Turbo. Certainly though, not a shoe for someone requiring stability. That upper's really quite flexible and there's not an awful lot of rigidity to it. Rubber on the outsole is kept to a minimum. Quite a bit of exposed midsole here. These darker sections have got the traction. Stuff in the middle here, it's just, yeah, it does feel like exposed midsole. They've probably opted for a rubber just in those sections to try and reduce the weight further. I found the traction really great actually in the Pegasus Turbo 2 on pretty much any surface. Though, at £160, this one's quite a pricey option. It might not weigh an awful lot, but it's gonna certainly reduce the weight of your wallet. I know some people have found that issue with the foam separating here at the back of the shoe on that fin. I've not seen that myself with my own eyes. So if you do go for this shoe, hope it doesn't happen to you. The Brook's Hyperion Tempo is the next one up on the block. This is a really comfortable shoe. The upper's just, oh, chef kiss stuff. Only 243 grams, would you believe? That's about 8.57 ounces. If you really want to be very, very accurate. Might make a difference, I suppose. Certainly is really light in hand, this one. Almost feels like it could just float away. This upper is certainly one of the most comfortable and flexible. It's just feather light, really soft actually. Certainly one of my favourite uppers of the year so far. Only minimal padding here in the heel, quite a minimal heel counter. I'd suggest it's a slightly firmer ride than the Pegasus Turbo. The DNA Flash midsole just got a little bit more firm kind of feel. It's quite interesting stuff. It reminds me a little bit of the midsole in the Tree Dasher actually. You know, that shoe from Allbirds. It's a little bit like that. Some people have mentioned that the midsole here is quite similar to a couple of Skechers models as well. I haven't had a chance to try those yet. I hope to very soon. I've certainly found the DNA Flash midsole very resilient, and that outsole probably more aimed at road use really. Not sure I'd want to take it on any trails. Not sure it's really geared up for sort of dirt and stuff like that. It's not really designed for that though, so I'm not going to knock it. At £140, it's certainly up there, a little closer to the price of the Pegasus Turbo. Slightly firmer ride though, although lighter, about 20 grams lighter. I'm enjoying it. Be taking this one up to 100 miles very shortly. One last racing and training option is the very bright and the very light Adidas Takumi Sen 6. This fast and very breathable shoe has got light strike and boost in the midsole. Don't forget Continental rubber too. Continental. This one weighs in at 230 grams, which is 8.1 ounces. Certainly the stack height here isn't great. This is a much more low to the ground shoe. You got a little bit more road feel in this one. You can almost feel the asphalt on your toes. I'm perhaps over-egging the pudding a bit there, I don't think you can. You certainly feel lower to the ground in this one though. It kind of reminds me of like a turbo version of the SL20, where everything's been minimised even more, taking away anything that's not required. I think some people might struggle actually with that more minimal midsole. It's not going to be for everybody. Again, this is an out and out pace shoe. I don't think you're going to want to run any sort of recoveries in this one. Don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic shoe. I'm really sad that I haven't been able to utilise it for any 5 or 10k road racing yet. I'm sure I will soon though. Hopefully that'll change in the next few months and I can really test out the Takumi Sen 6 on a nice flat and fast 5k course. It's got such an aggressive outsole, this one. And you see those lugs. They should come with a warning on the box that you could really graunch yourself with them if you're not careful. So certainly one of the lightest shoes that I've looked at today. Truly is a featherweight option. Hope you've enjoyed this little list, guys, something a little different. What are the lightest shoes that you've got? Is there something that you particularly like for racing? Something that's super weight relieved? What about training though? Do you like using a lighter shoe when training? I know some people swear by training in a much heavier shoe and they feel it grants them some advantages when they do come to race. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I kind of like a shoe to be a reasonable weight, and if it's not, it kind of bugs me. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. So I dug out my Creedence Clearwater Revival Greatest Hits once again. Over the course of the lockdown, I don't know if any of you have been watching, but John Fogerty's been putting out some live recordings with his family. He's got a couple of sons, I believe it's his daughter as well, playing with him, and it just sounds great. He's been going through his back catalogue, some really interesting locations as well. One of the tracks was recorded in a baseball stadium. It's really great stuff. He still sounds great, he still plays a mean guitar as well. Some really rocking tunes. Go over and check him out on YouTube, John Fogerty, and go and listen to some Creedence Clearwater Revival. You won't be disappointed. That just about wraps this one up. I get a ride off into the sunset and I'll see you in the next video. If you've enjoyed this video today, please help the channel out by subscribing and clicking that bell for notifications of when I launch those new videos. Really helps the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you